What's up, family? Real quick, we had a little bit of a technical difficulty in this episode. Unfortunately, Jordan's mic was not turned on because I'm a fucking idiot. So his audio is very, very quiet, and it'll probably be a little bit of a choppy listening experience on this one. But the interview was just absolutely incredible. The substance is still there, so please forgive my mishap here, and I hope you enjoy the episode. Rachel and Jordan are the owners of Lumos Infrared Sauna Studio, a family-owned and operated full-spectrum studio with locations throughout Central and Western New York. Having both played Division I collegiate athletics in New York, Rachel and Jordan relied on infrared sauna therapy for several years to improve both their physical and mental health. Because the two found so many healing and restorative properties of infrared heat and chromotherapy, they became determined to share their experiences with as many people as they could. Rachel and Jordan, thank you for being here today.
Thanks for having us, Cam. We're excited.
Let's roll, guys. So take us back. I know we were just talking off camera a little bit. Wherever you want to start in your entrepreneurial journey, and I was telling you, Rachel, I heard you and Nick on your previous podcast.
Yeah.
So I feel like I already know your story, but for everyone else watching, give us the rundown.
Yeah. So honestly, I was working in Syracuse at a tech startup. And I knew that I always wanted to do my own thing. And whether that be own my own company or just be on my own in some way professionally. And one day I messaged Jordan and I was like, I think I know what I want to do. I want to open an infrared sauna studio. And of course, him being who he is in our business and just in life was like, okay, like we got to talk business plan. We got to talk numbers. Like we need to make this, like we need to put this on paper.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, if we want to put this on paper, I'm going to need your support in putting this on paper because right now it's all up in my head.
Yeah.
I fell in love with infrared sauna use coming off of an ankle injury that I got playing basketball in college. And one of my friends introduced me. I later introduced Jordan. We both loved it.
Did you play basketball too in college?
College across in Syracuse.
Gotcha. Okay.
So he had some like knee things going on and we were both super active. We actually met at the gym.
Nice. Love that.
Yeah, we met working out and I like still tried to play basketball and just, I was 23, 24 at the time. I was still trying to be really active because it's always been a significant part of my life and my ankle just wasn't right. And one of my friends suggested I try infrared sauna. And I did, and I fell in love.
Yeah.
Eventually started working at an infrared sauna studio in Syracuse. And I met so many different people that had these absolutely profound stories of how it changed something for them or how it made something easier for them. And everybody that came left feeling better. And I think that that's being able to do that in your professional realm, making people feel better and actually heal.
It's everything.
It's so fulfilling. There's not a day, obviously, being in a service industry, not everybody's always so happy to be there. And there's issues, of course, that arise, but 99% of the people that walk through our doors leave feeling better. And we feel that too on like our side of like our staff, our team, and Jordan and I. And it's so fulfilling. So we set out to do it. We decided to open in Victor, our first location, because we wanted to respect the Syracuse studio that I learned about all of this from. And we didn't want to compete with her. And we knew that there was a great opportunity in the Rochester market. We didn't know how great at the time, but we knew that there was opportunity here. So we decided to commute back and forth, which was really interesting.
Yeah.
From Syracuse to Victor. And Jordan was working full-time as a financial advisor at the time. And so he was able to like support from afar and help with a lot of the bookkeeping and like more behind the scenes, the financial side, which allowed me to be able to be in the studio as much as I was when we first opened and kind of the creative side of the business.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So when was it that you left your financial services stuff to join time?
December of last year.
Oh, recently.
Just a couple of months.
Congratulations.
Yeah, and I was watching one of your, I think it was maybe just an intro about who you are and your story about the day that you had decided this was enough.
It was a beautiful day. Yep.
So deeply. And like chills right now.
Me too.
How difficult it is to, of course, own a business, one with your partner and your spouse, but two, to have that not be the the breadwinner, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for so long, that was kind of my mentality of like, okay, well, I have to hold this position in order to
grow,
back us and scale this.
Yes.
In order to basically figure out, is Lumos going to be it for us? And it took 6 years for me
Yeah.
to feel comfortable and confident about leaving that industry as
Mm-hmm.
a whole. And kind of taking, I think, the pieces of what I learned in that industry and the relationships that I had built and attribute them to Lumos. And now it's been run on 5 months together, full time together. Of course, I was working a little bit more behind the scenes, but now I've gotten the taste of the physical side,
Yeah.
the studio operation side, learning and trying to grow with Rachel and ask a lot of questions. Where can I help? How can I make this better? Do you want me to help?
Yeah. Yeah.
All of those conversations happening now, and I think we're finally hitting our stride as far as blossoming as a full-time business.
Hell yeah. I love it. So I want to dig into that a little bit because that's amazing. I love to hear stories like you and I. Talk a little bit maybe for the people who are in a similar situation. Maybe they're working on their business right now. They're a couple years in. What was it that really was the pivotal point that you're like, okay, it's safe. I'm going to make the jump now?
There isn't one.
I don't think there is one.
There's not one.
I don't think I ever feel safe. I think, just my background, my parents were divorced at 5. I grew up pretty, close to a single family household. So like in my mind, there wasn't, from a monetary perspective, like there's never that ease. However, I think just what I felt in the freedom aspect, and one of the things that you pointed out was like that first day where you're like, wow, nobody's telling me what to do, like where I have to be. I don't have to sign on for somebody else. I don't have, some meeting that probably doesn't need to be there.
Yep.
Those things in my mind just outweighed the financial risks of continuing in a salary position. So, but like still,
You just kind of like, you have to just get to a point where you pick your uncomfort, and is it going to be uncomfort
It's like,
because
which uncomfort do you want?
Yeah, it's like where do you want your discomfort to come from? Because there's nothing comfortable, as you know, like there's nothing comfortable about this, and you're never going to be like, okay, here's my list of reasons why I'm going to leave this job and move full time into entrepreneurship or dive in.
Yeah.
You're never going to be able to check all those boxes. It genuinely is. Can you be in a place where you can handle the discomfort and put that one away?
Yep.
And he really just finally, because this has been in like the back of our minds, not quite since we opened Lumos, but it's really funny. We reconnected with a very close friend of ours who was around for the beginning. She was one of the like original members of our first Lumos location and was a member up until we closed for COVID, and then she ended up buying a sauna. And we've seen her twice now. We saw her at a gala, and then her and I like got coffee, and it's so nice. And she was like, "Are you serious? Jordan is just now leaving." And I was like, "I know. I can't believe that we held on this long." But I mean, there were a lot of valid reasons. I mean,
Absolutely.
we have 3 children.
Yeah.
We needed
was a big deal.
Kids are a huge
in
deal.
healthcare.
Yeah. Yep.
And kids are sick all the time. We couldn't be in a position where we're like, oh, not that we would, but we couldn't be making a choice of if we're going to make a decision best for them on like how much it's going to financially impact us. So healthcare is a really big part of it for sure. Benefits in general. So
Lifestyle. Like I think finally I was like, listen, my mentality surrounding your saving for future and all this, I think that has gone by the wayside. As an entrepreneur, you're really looking day to day. And I learned from her, like, uncomfortability is good, but being free is better. So, and I was envious. And quite frankly, sometimes I was jealous. I was like, wow, Rachel,
Sure.
make her own day. She's got all these coffee meetings. She gets the sauna and whatever in the middle of the day. If I want to do that, I got to block my calendar from this place, come up with some excuse. Morally, it was getting a little bit more uncomfortable for me on a moral basis than it was on the financial side.
Yeah.
At that point, it was probably.
Well, and he was also being promoted at work.
Oh, really?
And so, and so he was like, I have to give more, like I don't have any more time. And so he just got to a place where he was like, it was really like I feel bad because I don't think I can give this job my 100%.
So were the people around you like, what the hell are you doing? You're getting promoted here.
The entire time.
The entire time, they're like, why are you still here?
Oh, the other way. Okay, yeah.
Honestly, she's probably the number one supporter that I have. She's like, you could have done this a long time ago. I think just fear-mongering myself was tough. I mean, I was putting it in the back of my mind, like, well, what if this doesn't work out? Meanwhile, we're continuing to, open locations, hand over fist, and figuring things out on the go. And I was just like, probably should have done this a lot.
Yeah.
We say it every day. We're like, imagine where we would be, but at the same time, you
hindsight
can't
is 2020.
You can't think about it like that, because his stability and like all of those things that I mentioned were instrumental in the growth of Lumos.
Absolutely. And
the support of me.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah. And I always tell people too, like for me personally, I was kind of in the boat where I was in not pain, but I was in so much, like, it's
like anguish.
I was just like, I do not belong in the corporate world. So I, being a 23-year-old kid, was like, I have the opportunity right now, no kids, no family, no wife. Let me save up some money and let me make the jump.
Yeah.
Do I recommend that for everyone? No, because everyone's in a different place. So it's okay to take that time, that even if it's 6 years before you do make the jump. So just wanted to point that out.
One of the biggest transitional things that helped me is hearing other people's
100%.
Their stories. Like, once you hear enough stories about exactly what you just said, like, you know, people who have no kids and risk, you know, their own responsibilities, that's one thing. And then when I got into communities where people also had the same responsibilities that we had signed up for, and they're still transitioning out of that, that was the end of it for me. Okay, this is doable. And these people, you know, are coming from different facets of life that also probably maybe harder or not as hard, but, you know, we're all in this transitional period. I've gotten a few groups that was the case. Wise, where people were just sharing stories about losses and wins, and it built me up enough to take.
Yeah. Communities are huge, and podcasts too. This is like, I'm sure there's going to be people watching who's like, wow, I resonate with you guys so much.
Yeah, because I do feel like people put a pressure on that, like you have to like full send go for it in all aspects, but that's not always realistic. You do like. Obviously, waiting 6 years isn't also what we recommend to people, because again, maybe we could have done it sooner, but there was a lot of lessons learned and a lot of growth happened again, because he did wait, and he waited for a time where he was like, okay, I'm ready for this to be my discomfort versus what it previously was.
Yeah.
And it looks different for everyone. And,
absolutely.
And that's valid for whomever it is.
So let's bring it back kind of to your business, and why don't you guys just give a quick rundown on exactly like what services you provide and what the business actually is for people.
Yeah. So when we first started Lumos, it just started as infrared sauna. So in the infrared sauna uses infrared heat, infrared light to create heat, works to raise your core temperature. And that's what offers all the health benefits, is that ability for it to raise your core temperature and then your body working to cool itself naturally.
And real quick, is infrared sauna different from red light? Are those two? Okay, because that's a question I had. I wasn't really.
Yeah, and that's a really common misconception, actually. People would like walk in and be like, where are the red lights? And we're like, well, so infrared's an invisible form of light. However, it's interesting because most red light devices will also have an infrared component.
I have one,
and typically they do have infrared as well, which wouldn't be like the lights that you actually see creating that red glow, but it's a part of it and helps with heating up at the surface level of typically why people use red light devices. When we opened in 2019, we started with 4 infrared saunas. We always wanted to do, and we left one room closed, like we didn't have anything in one room, because we always wanted to do something with cold exposure. Neither of us are big on cryo. We just don't love it. And I don't believe in it. And I'm the kind of person, I have to like be all in on something to want it to be a part of our business. And I have to like believe it to be able to speak powerfully. So we waited, and we kind of like tested the waters with putting cold water in, but cold plunge technology just was not where it is today in terms of like the kind of plug and play units that just get to like go in a room that are ideal for a commercial setting. So we ended up doing a sauna in that room. And then fast forward 3 or 4 years, we were able to add red light towers inside our sauna. So we also have dedicated medical grade red light inside our sauna, and that's a separate service of infrared. So that one focuses more on helping to promote ATP production and like surface level. So like skin, wound healing, still helps with recovery and all that, but just works a little bit different than infrared.
And what is the difference between, say, a red light that I get on Amazon versus medical grade, what you guys have?
Just integrity of the product and efficacy. Also how long it's likely going to last.
Okay,
and FDA approval process typically.
Gotcha.
Ours are FDA registered devices, and not all are. It's actually not super common for red light devices, not many at least, especially like masks, wands, things like that. But you can find ones that are. They're just not every single one will go through that process.
Gotcha. Okay.
And that makes a big difference because there just is like checks and balances in getting those to be registered or approved devices.
Yeah, and the reason I'm asking is because I'm going through some health issues with my gut and everything, and I'm doing a lot of red light therapy to try to heal that.
Yeah.
Number one, that, and then also just some freak thing that happened when I was getting my blood drawn. The phlebotomist actually hit a nerve in my arm, and I felt a shock of pain down my arm. And it's been probably 6 weeks now, and I still feel some pain. So I've been doing red light every night on that as well.
Yeah.
But I talked
That's
to a nerve specialist, and the one I got on Amazon was like $70. I don't know if it's great. I'm looking into
some of the
just
ones that you
investing
get
in,
are going to be great.
yeah.
And you'll be fine.
Because I know
Absolutely. And it's
some
not going to hurt you. It just maybe wouldn't work as well as some of
some red light is more for the skin, and then some really penetrates into
These are clear light infrared made. The
Clear Light Sauna brand, yeah.
Clear Light Sauna founder actually created the sauna, the medical grade Clear Light infrared for his wife who has MS.
Oh, wow.
So I think when Rachel and I decided to go with Clear Light, which I give 100% of the credit to her, she decided based on the integrity of whom was the founder, what was the purpose surrounding the sauna build, and
just the integrity of the products.
And I mean, when we were going, and she got me addicted to the infrared sauna back in 2018, it was, we were in a different brand, and it wasn't as hot, it wasn't as, we could stay in a lot longer, like we were doing.
Yeah, just different integrity of the products.
But they make the red light
that we're able to put right inside the sauna. So it operates like as an add-on of our sauna, but it's nice because it doesn't feel super separate of the sauna.
Very cool.
Yeah. So that
right on the inside of the door.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
It is portable, so she takes them to events and things like that.
Love that.
We have extra that we can pop out. But yeah, I think choosing the right red light devices, it's tough because there are now so many. And again, some of the ones that you buy on Amazon are probably going to be great, and there wouldn't be an issue. It's like anything, right? Sometimes those other versions do a great job, or they have like a piece of technology that's amazing that's going to still deliver you the same benefits. But obviously, just for our saunas, we can't just like put any red light device in because it has to work in harmony with the sauna itself.
Right.
So when our distributor rolled that option out, we were all over it.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think we did 2 in some locations that had more saunas, and then 1 in every other location, and those saunas were booked all day. People were so excited that we had that addition, and you don't pay extra for it. You can use it, you can leave it off. It's available if you want it during your session, which nobody has enough time. There's not enough time in the day. So it's just nice to be able to knock both out in one, to be able to do both infrared and red light at the same time.
Yeah.
So then in 2024, we closed and expanded our second Lumos location to be able to include cold plunge. So now you can contrast. And our cold plunges are included right in the room with the sauna. So you can go back and forth between sauna and cold plunge.
Love that. I'm sure people do that combo all the time.
It's the ability to go from like one extreme to the it's amazing.
Yeah, and I know Nick has it over at Elevate too now, and everyone's hopping right back and forth between them.
And as they should be.
Yep.
Yeah.
Love that.
Not that there's not benefits to doing, them isolated, but to be able to go back and forth.
Yeah.
Incredible.
So let me ask you about this on the cold plunge, because I've heard that I've heard both sides, that it's not great for hypertrophy, but at the same time, it can be very beneficial. Is it timing based on when you do it?
Yes.
Is it? Okay.
Yes. And it's really also like the goal of what it is. I don't even know if we got into this when we chatted with Nick, but there's a PhD who's actively studying hot and cold exposure.
Yeah.
And she actually has some really great information because this like information kind of surfaced. And based on what she has said, most of those contraindications that are coming up, not many of them are actually research based. So there isn't actual information that has been proven that is fact.
Just people talking out of their ass.
Yeah, which is unfortunate, but it's because this has become such a craze and people want to do it and they want to do it right. It's coming out of a good place, but it also has to do with timing of your workout and the style of your workout. Like And for some people, for recovery purposes, it does make sense to go right into cold water after you finish a workout. But if you're a bodybuilder looking to gain muscle mass,
Right.
it wouldn't make sense for you to go in right after. You would want to give your body time.
Got it. And would it be separate days, would you recommend, or just even if you had a
I need to look
lifting?
back at exactly what she said, but I want to say it's 8+ hours after
Okay.
that session designed to build mass and muscle
Got it.
mass and strength.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes
She
sense.
would rather go, I think it was a sauna, she
Sauna
promoted
first.
sauna after the workout for, of course, like, you know, vascular reasons, like you want to open up your blood vessels.
Yes.
Taking the oxygen to repair.
But then cold needs to come later.
And cold, you're going to do the cold later to, you know, actively recover.
Got it.
Yeah.
Great.
It was 8 hours.
Okay. Sweet. So many directions I want to head here, but let's go back into, let's talk about the skills that you guys kind of had to develop and learn to become entrepreneurs, because there's millions of skills you have to learn, still learning. What do you think if you were to speak to someone who maybe wants to start like a similar business model to you guys, like what would be your advice to that person? Like, what do you have to focus on to get your business off the ground?
I would, when we first started,
You're a planner?
I'm a planner. She's just say
Just-
figure out later.
Yeah.
Which works very nicely together.
Compliments. Yeah.
And obviously my math, like more math oriented brain wants to kind of get stuff on paper first and then.
That's how I am too.
Yeah. So it works really nice because.
cannot relate.
She'll give the yes, but also like I always say to everybody who talks to me that if I were to be dropped in the jungle with somebody, it would be her. You would survive, and you need the survivalist, but you also need the person who like brings a knife and the damn, you know,
Yeah.
to make the fire.
It's a great analogy. Yeah.
So I think that's why we work pretty well together. But when I met her, she had 5 jobs. So like
5 jobs?
5.
Yeah. So knowing that she had so many different hands in so many jars, she was obviously taking in a ton of information from those places. So when she shot me the message, which was on Google Chat or like Google Teams or something, I didn't have her number when she texted me this. I was like, yeah. My first instinct was yes, because I know you're a survivalist, but then I need to build the Excel to see if this is feasible next. So that is just how we've complemented each other, but I think that's where I would start is you need both.
You do.
If you're doing it as a solo person, you have to think about both sides.
I also think you have to like go into any endeavor, no matter what it is, whether it's like us or anyone else. And you need to say it out loud, tell your friends, like, I will be successful. Like you can't come into something questioning. You have to put yourself in a mindset, even if it's fake. You still need, you fake it till you make it, baby. Like you have to start. That is literally why Lumos is where it is, because the analogy of the jungle is hilarious, but I will find a way to be successful. And guess what? It could be pivoting. It could be changing. And that's also okay. There's success in being able to do that. It doesn't need to be, I'm not saying you need to like have this number that you need to hit necessarily, or how many people are going to come through your doors, but you have to start with the foundation of I'm going to do this and I'm going to be successful. And along the way, that might mean changes, but that's the most important thing to start with. And I didn't know it at the time, but that's how I started this. It was never if Lumos was going to be successful. It was, how am I going to make this successful?
Yeah.
When? Who am I going to bring on that's going to help me, that's better than me at the things that I'm bad at or the things I don't really want to do?
Yeah. Did you have that mentality? Did you develop that mentality, or did you coming into starting the business just have that natural instinct?
I had that natural instinct. So it's like really comes back to my parents, because my parents were never the kind of people that would just be like, oh, like, here's this, like, let me fund your business. Absolutely not. This is one. We started this business with our
made
wedding
you work
fund.
for everything. Yeah.
We didn't get like, nor would we. I also wouldn't ask.
We didn't really ask.
I don't ask. Like I have a very hard time asking for help. I've gotten definitely a lot better at that now, but my parents just, like, it didn't matter that I was a girl. I played football. I was the starting quarterback on my football team, and we were undefeated. Like, I just had this mentality that if I wanted to do it, I'm going to do it. I will find a way to do it. And I think that's obviously harder. That's not something that people are born with or your parents instill in you, but there are definitely tools to develop that. And it starts with saying it out loud, writing it down, walking the walk and talking the talk.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people look at affirmations and stuff and think
They underestimate
like,
them.
They underestimate them, and they think like, oh, that's all woo-woo, cheesy stuff. But
It's not.
it is so
You
fucking
literally
powerful.
rewrite your brain. You
Yeah.
rewrite the chemistry in your brain, or you call me and I'll
exactly.
tell you that you're going to do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
It's simply put, don't quit.
And find the right people around you. Be around the people that when you talk about these big ideas, they're not like, you shouldn't do that. Because I can't tell you how many people, when we've like explored different avenues for Lumos, have been like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I probably can't talk to you about that ever again. And not that you need to like necessarily cut them off, but you have to
just
find the
gotta
people that are
remove a little bit.
excited.
Yeah.
You just, and they're not always easy to find, but they're out there. Like
Yeah.
they're there. And those are the people that you want to run your ideas by, or you want to chat with, or you want to find.
It's a great point you make, because it's hard when even family, friends around you are, even if you're so confident in yourself, there's still doubt that can creep
Still
in
doubt.
because you love these people so much. And
Yeah.
you're like, are they?
And it comes often from a really great
Of course
place.
it does. Of course
but
it does.
You don't have to listen to it.
No.
Like you can hear it, but you don't have to listen to it.
In one ear.
Exactly.
Another really good attribute that helped us both is we're both very good at surveying other people's opinions. However, we regroup together, if we're in the car, we're both making phone calls 99% of the time. Not sitting in the car just wasting that time. That's a valuable time. I'm sure you probably do the same.
Yep.
Call. And you have ideas in the car.
Oh, yeah.
So you call other people that you trust to vet your idea or whatever you're doing, and you trust those people's opinions on how to get the right stepping stones to not fall off in the water, right? And I think we're really both good at that, and then we're both good at taking everybody else's opinions, bringing them to our table, and analyzing what's the best way to get this done. I think that's another attribute that I think a lot of entrepreneurs, whether you're starting off or not, that you have to get accustomed to doing. If you are not calling people and asking them, and most of the time it's older people, right? Who have done this, who have had 3 kids, but now they're 40 and their kids are all good, and everybody's through and they made it through that horrible time. That's what we both do.
That's it right there. It's find the people that are a couple steps ahead of you.
Yeah.
In the place you want to be.
Yeah.
Because I always tell people, you can learn from people who are like 10 steps ahead of you, but it's not really going to do much when you need to find like the next step. And
Just like
who's
one
that
up
person? Exactly.
or 2 up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People who have failed, like you want
Yeah.
Yes.
people who have failed
Yes.
at something, which everybody has failed at something, find out why it failed. It might not be, for
In their control.
Yeah.
It's not always in your control.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things that I had to relinquish. I like control. I prefer to know what the next step is in entrepreneurship. You have 0 idea. Like today, we already had one place that went out power this morning. It's back online, but I'm planning for that. So
Yeah.
I had to get used to that, especially in the retail services industry. It's up and down.
That's a segue into my next piece of advice.
Do
is
it.
You absolutely need to be very agile. You have to be ready to adjust and adapt. And again, I don't think that everybody is born with that ability. It's something that you have to develop. I've seen it in Jordan. He was rigid. He did not have that ability. And he'd be like, we got like this happening, and then we got this happening, and we got this happening. And I'd be like, okay, well, let's prioritize. What are we going to handle first? What needs to be handled first? And you have, as business owners and entrepreneurs, you have like a running list of things that you need to get done. And then very often something pops up and it comes up and it's number 1. So you have to still keep those, but you have to be really comfortable with not finishing that list.
Yep.
And it's a very difficult thing for a lot of people who are like, I finished my list.
It is for me. Yeah.
I finished my list, and you just can't, because owning a business at any given time, you could do 100 things, right? You could improve on this here. You could market better there. You could reorganize this. So you have to be comfortable hanging that, like having that that ability to prioritize, but like knock them down as needed or move them over.
It's such
For
a
the
good
next
point.
day.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's the CEO.
Yeah.
She's the fire person.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, I'm the same way though. Like if, let's say I got 10 things I want to get done during the day, even if I knock out 8 of them, like have a really good day and my head hits the pillow at night, I'm like, fuck, I still have those 2 things. Like, and that's just part of the game. That's part of entrepreneurship.
Because you can't lose sleep over those 2.
No.
You need your sleep. You need to come ready for tomorrow.
Yep.
Obviously, there are things where you're going to lose sleep over, but you really have to get comfortable not finishing that list and being able to slide it into the next day and start fresh or the next week.
It's tough though.
It's very hard.
Or any of the those traditional backgrounds of the 9 to 5 where you're taught in, early onset school that this is what you should do. Even in school in general, the way that it's structured, you are basically have a list, and each one of those classrooms you have to hit every day.
Yeah.
You got to do the homework for those. That's not how it is, right?
Yeah, and it's not failure
So you have
to not
plan it
finish.
some other way, and It's not like you can learn that aside from an entrepreneurship class. You want your junior year of college, one professor teaches you, right? So like, I think that most people just don't put themselves in that sort of scenario, and they don't even know it exists until later.
It's such a greater discussion too of education. We could talk about this for hours, but like, and I'm asking you guys, like, how do we go from that structured fake, it's not even real life, to what entrepreneurship is, all the personal growth that you get from it for the people who don't want to be entrepreneurs, because you still need those life skills. You still need to learn all that stuff. Like,
and where does it come from?
How do we do that as a society? I don't know.
Right? There needs to be that facet of it's life skills, because this is a really funny, another segue. When we first started our first location, it was with my dad and his girlfriend. They were helping us paint. And like fix a couple things around there. And my dad's girlfriend looked at me, like, we had been a long day and we were like, are we going to make it out of here? We're like snowed in. And I was trying to fix something and I was really struggling, but I don't like to ask for help. And I wasn't going to ask her for help. And I was like waiting for my dad to come down, and she looked at me and was like, have you ever used a tool before? And I was like, no, Carly, like, not really, actually. And she was like, oh my gosh, come here. Like, and that's such an important thing. How, as a 20-something-year-old, did I not ever really use like power tools, like, and not big power tools, like a drill? But I was like fumbling with how to get like the bits in. And now I feel like I could do anything with tools.
I just feel
Give
like
me a tool.
there should be a fundamental like life class.
Yeah.
Personal finance, like,
How do you sign a lease? Where do you get your credit from? Nobody even knows. It's really sad.
that should be taught before any calculus or any.
It's so sad.
Yeah.
We do talk about that a lot, and I feel like one of our dreams would be like to have that class of like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
it should be taught in middle school. You're in 7th grade in that home economics class, instead of doing your like weaving.
Yes. Yeah.
They should show you, hey, this is kind of what like a checking account looks like. You know, the number at the bottom of the check. You should search.
Yeah. Yeah.
Couldn't agree more. Yeah. But that's a greater discussion that we don't have time for today. So
Part 2, Cam.
yeah, absolutely. I want to go into this. This is a good one. We kind of already touched on it, but kind of a two-part question. One, how do you guys function and succeed so well as a partnership? And number 2, how do you do it as a husband and wife couple?
I think, first of all, we definitely have our own like lanes and veins of our business. And this isn't really easy. Again, this isn't something that just happened. We like really trust. There's almost an advantage that we are husband and wife, because obviously our morals align 99% of the time. Our values align. And at the end of the day, we're doing this for each other and for our family and for our freedom of time.
Yep.
And we stay really in our own lanes, and we have a lot of discussions around what we're doing in these lanes. But if I disagree with Jordan, we're going to have a conversation about it. We're going to talk about it. But if it's in his vein, I'm ultimately going to let him make the decision on what's going to happen. I'm going to give my 2 cents. And if I have to like really dig in, we'll talk more about it. And same with me. Like sometimes he has to be like, okay, how many times have you said yes? Like, are we going to throw a no in there? Like, are we going to balance this somewhere? Like, what's got to give? And it will make me that like constant communication and trust allows me to feel confident and make my decisions, but know that I have him as like a sounding board to make sure it's what's best for us, Lumos, and our family. So I think that there's almost an edge, because we're so aligned in what we want at the end of the day that it makes it easier. I mean, it's not without many trials and tribulations and lots of going back and forth, but it's just those constant lines of open communication, and then that trust that if I didn't tell him about it, it's probably because he didn't really have to know about it, and that I'm making a choice that he would have also made.
Yeah.
It's really, I think it's good for people to hear on this podcast that it's feasible.
It's very possible.
I think most people have the daunting idea that, one, starting a business is hard enough. Why the hell would I do it with my spouse? I'm ready to ruin my marriage and all that.
Yeah.
We don't pay, the rent. Are we going to lose the house? Are we going to lose? And that's how I used to think. And I'd say it probably took about 2 years once we started expanding, and I realized not only myself was addicted to infrared saunas, but a lot of other people were addicted. Then I really got behind the idea of let's expand, let's, trust each other enough to be quick decision makers. So that trust piece is there, the communication's there, and there's no hiding. You live under the same roof, which I think is absolutely the most beneficial piece, because You got business partners all the time. They might be in different states. You got to wait till 9 a.m. business time to get on that Zoom with that business partner. You lost all that time. Her and I don't let something go unanswered before bed. So if you have something to say it before we hit the pillow. Let's hash it out. And it doesn't happen very often, but at least the information is there so that both parties know. And tomorrow we're moving forward quicker.
Absolutely.
That allows us to act faster, which allows scalability quicker. And, like that.
Yes.
Process is faster.
Do you guys have like rules or cutoff times of when like, oh, we're done talking about business?
So there's not like, we don't have like explicit, I mean, and quite frankly, I wouldn't follow him. I'm not like a list. Like I'm not like a follower of really anything, I feel. But he probably has them in his mind. We really try when our kids are home from school or around or present, we really, it's as minimal as possible because we started this to have freedom of time to be very present parents for our children. And we do often have to be like, we're not talking about this right now. We're going to talk about this later. And we do have scheduled times where we meet and chat. And do they get pushed off to the side? All the time, but it's still like a placeholder for a reminder. Like we need to connect about what this looks like. And we do also schedule a time where we're like, phones are not present. Phones are not a part of this. Like Lumos is not a part of this. Like we do definitely have to schedule it in to just make sure that we have that time of being present.
Yeah.
With each other, not as it relates to Lumos, because it really blurs, which is a blessing and a curse. But I think have finally, I would say in the last 2 years, have gotten really good at not allowing, like not having to have so many conversations where we're like, let's not talk about Lumos, where it's just like, we're not doing it right now. It's like inherent and we just know this isn't the time.
Also, the nature of our business, we live, breathe, eat, sleep, infrared sauna, cold plunge, like, if I'm missing a sauna day, it's a problem. It's not just the service that we're providing, it's the fact that we are also addicted to this.
You're practicing what you preach.
Correct.
Yeah.
Big time.
It makes it easier as a business owner. This is exactly what I want to be doing with my day. Talking to you and taking the time to, we don't get to talk about this a lot. This is fun for me to, and I get, kind of emotional about it, to sit here and be able to share our story, because you don't talk about, the wins all the time.
Yeah.
You just make it through. But for us, I think that 24/7 mentality is not really like a problem, because I like it. I mean, we're addicted to talking about it. I want to know where and when we're going to put the next one, all of that. So we don't have super cutoffs because of that, because it's so fun. It is fun. It's not like my 9 to 5 where like after 5 o'clock don't email. Up there at 8 o'clock at night and it's exciting. Like, you want to do this right now? Where we going? That's the fun part about it though. But I think that that's just the nature of the business that we've chosen to start. It doesn't happen all the time, but I think that owners like yourself, like, you like it. When you talk to someone else, you're like, wow, I want more of that. I want more of that.
Yeah, well, and I think to Rachel's point, like that blur, like you can't own a business and not have some degree of blur. It's gonna happen. Things are gonna come up. I think it's just, to your point, balancing it.
Yeah, how do you handle it?
Getting better over time.
The and ultimately, you have the choice. Do you want to put your phone down, or did you like the text that came through with that opportunity? And that's the best part, is it's your choice, not somebody else. That's the biggest thing that I saw in December. I'm like, wow. And by the way, it's December 19th. So a recommendation, if you are going to step away, Christmas is perfect.
Right before Christmas.
It was really nice. It was really nice.
Take PT. I'm like, there's no PTO.
It's the greatest Christmas gift you can give yourself.
It was my favorite Christmas present I've gotten.
Yeah.
Incredible. So, but anyways, that was the biggest eye opener for me. Is like, we already live, breathe, and eat this. Like, I just want more of it. I want to keep doing this.
Yeah. Love it, guys. How important is social media and digital marketing and just content in general these days for you guys?
You're gonna love this answer. It's everything. It has been everything for us. We don't do a lot of like what you would call like traditional marketing. It's our social media.
9 months though. You should talk about it. Just to hear the evolution.
Yeah.
You can talk about it, but when she was commuting every day, I mean, before we opened Lumos in January of 2019, so June she texted me with the idea. We had a company by October, like an LLC. By the way, Rachel and I met in February of 2018. So meet in February. Text me in June. Rachel moved in somewhere between them. I had bought my grandparents' house in Syracuse, so she was in between living situations, and my grandparents were moving to Florida. So I was like, well, I love you. Let's move in. You should definitely move in right
Yeah, he was like, don't go look at that apartment.
Trying to push her away from some other living opportunities she had, and she ultimately moved in. By June, she texted me with the idea. By October, we had the LLC. From October to December, we came to Rochester every single weekend, slept on her dad's air mattress in Fairport, New York.
In his basement. So dramatic.
Gym to tell them this is our idea, this is our business. But
Yep.
it was helpful because we're coming from an athletic background where we met at a gym and we're both.
And it was just like, yeah, and I coached at that gym, and it just was like the realm that we felt comfortable in. And I knew these are the people that, one, will believe me, two, will try it, and three, they'll talk it up to like the other people that they work out, and just how it happened and how it worked in Syracuse. The only qualm was they were like, why aren't you doing this here?
Yeah,
Literally, we went to anyone, and it wasn't just gyms. It was any fitness, wellness-based business. I would say,
So
hey,
smart.
can I meet you? Can I chat with you? Because that also too opened up more relationships, more pockets, more businesses that I felt like that we complemented what they were doing or what their offering was. And it was truly just electric.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up though, because I think that's important for the people listening, that was the foundation before any social media or any of that. Like you have to go through that period.
Social media actually played a really significant role though, because often I'd be like, you can come to Lumos, you have to post on your story. And so that was really what and then everybody's like, well, all these people are coming and they're all there. And
Seeing it over and over.
Got it.
Are there, word of mouth.
Yes.
Video, picture. I see what it looks like now.
Yeah.
Got it.
Just kept going.
Or I would encourage them to post and share that they were there. Yeah, but I just think that social media, it's a digital billboard for your brand.
That's it.
Everybody can see it. Hopefully everybody does see it. And you have the opportunity, whether it's, super quick or hopefully it's a longer term like relationship you have back and forth with the social media following. You have that opportunity to really give a glimpse into your brand. So it is just so important. Our social media it's very specific to our brand, and we do have a social media manager now, but we didn't up until we've only had her for a year and some change. I was doing all of it, and the creativity that I now have, now that I don't have to do so much of like the boots on the ground work for social media, the ideas that I'm able to have and help like us execute on, it's so much better. It's so much nicer.
Not in the weeds so much.
Yeah, I'm not so in the weeds, and it allows me to do what I love and be creative and have cool ideas, and then be able to actually execute on those ideas through our social media and to be able to share that with them. And we're kind of always up to something, and it's where we share so much of our information of like what's going on.
We feel that for sure with our accounts. Yeah.
I am not in that space at all. I'm not a creative like that. Like, she handles everything. I don't second guess anything.
Yeah.
She has curated the entire branding. She has curated all the community connections.
We're going back to staying in your lane. Like that's a perfect example of it.
And that was time waste for me. Like, she would be like, well, what are you doing? I just go off to the photo shoots now that I'm a little bit more.
There you go. That's exciting.
For being fit is to be included.
That's a great, yep.
Yeah, because we recently plunged in around Nicoya Bay.
Did you?
We tried to dig into the ice, but it was literally, cars were driving on it. It was so thick. Poor Jordan and one of our friends, beautiful hole.
Rectangle, and I went to stand in it. I was
Up to his knees.
Yeah.
That's all we got.
What was the temperature of the water?
30%.
Oh shit.
So
It was just melted
we
ice.
ended up jumping off the dock that just had a bubbler under it where there was no ice, so we just jumped off the dock. But,
Wow.
yeah, it was a fun day.
My ideas get us a little.
Yes, they do. Yeah, so I guess just to go back full circle here with social media, like it's changed our business. It's changed everything we do. I mean, probably 90% of our leads come through our Instagram. We've got 20,000 plus followers now. It's just, if you're not working on it, what are you doing?
Yeah, and you're missing out.
You're missing out.
You're missing out.
On their devices 24/7.
That's what everyone.
Yeah,
And
I don't have the time to go and physically see all these places, so to get a quick glimpse is.
And everybody you have to just embrace the fact that everybody is a part of it, and the content that you put out is a reflection of your brand. It needs to be coming from your brand's perspective. It needs to be aligned with your brand. Like the information needs to be something that your brand stands behind. So it's so important.
It is.
And quality is so important.
Oh my gosh. And to your point, like if you're not good at it, let's say you're a solo
find
owner
someone
like
that
Jordan,
is.
like find someone who is.
Yeah, you find someone that is. That's another thing that we have done. I'm also very unafraid to admit when I'm not good at something, and I want to find somebody who one can teach me to be better, or will do it in like alignment with our brand and for us. And
that's huge.
Content creation is something that I have ideas. I cannot always deliver.
Yeah.
We need support.
Mm-hmm.
That was a life-changing event as well when we got Laura, her name is, she's unbelievable. She's like perfect alignment with Rachel as well as trying to grow her own brand. So it goes back to helping each other, right?
That's what you just said there. That's massive. Because we're all doing the same thing. We're trying to grow our personal brands. Yep.
Yeah.
Work with Lumos brand is fantastic.
Oh yeah,
right? Like,
win-win,
so
win-win.
That was a big. She went from going on her phone 24/7 to being able to be removed, talk about the idea with somebody else on a timed basis, have them deliver multiple iterations of that, and be able to. Oh my gosh.
It's brilliant, guys. Like, and when you can align incentives just in any portion of your business with the people who are working with you to grow your thing, that's where the rocket fuel comes. Because if they're invested and they're like, oh, I'm not just doing this for them, like I'm getting just as much out of it for myself.
Yeah.
It's human nature.
Yeah.
Like that's how humans work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's full. She doesn't take on projects anymore. She's all set.
Love that.
Baby. Yeah. It's amazing.
So I like to divide up the show into kind of like tactical and then mindset stuff.
Yeah.
Entrepreneurship is hard, as you both know. How do you, and I know the answer already, how do you cultivate a strong mindset, a resilient mind as business owners?
I think that a strong mind starts from what you're doing in your day-to-day life. Are you making choices and living a lifestyle that contributes to like a healthy body and a healthy mind? The answer should be yes. But I think for a lot of people that this is such a grind that it's really easy to neglect your health, your body's health, your mind's health. And I think, especially for myself, I really try to take care of my body and my mind by like actively taking care of them, getting a deep tissue massage because I'm really active once a month, keeping my body moving, whether that's like an intense workout or just like walking, getting steps in, getting outside, being in the sunlight. Obviously infrared sauna and cold plunge, not everybody has to do that to have a healthy body and mind, but those are huge things for my mental health and physical health. The foods that you're putting in your body, are you digging deeper? Like, what am I eating? Are you eating whole foods? Are you eating things out of a box? Do you go out to eat every day? What's the integrity of the restaurants that you're going to? Like, do you have like a high appetite for drugs and alcohol? Like, I think all of those things, keeping them all in check is one of the most important things to keeping like this grind even possible, because there's a lot of like lack of sleep. There's a lot of interruptions. There's a lot of pivots and plan changes. And the only way I can handle them with the only way I can like shovel shit with a smile on my face sometimes is because I feel good doing it. Like, my baseline is that I feel good. We take our mental and physical health like as seriously as possible in terms of the foods that we eat, the supplements that we take, the integrity of the products that we use, the clothes that we wear. It all starts with like what is your body is exposed to.
It's everything.
Everything.
Same, and I think just the way we met at a gym, I think that speaks for itself. Like, we were both there trying to be healthier, and we were, trying to, I think, just create longevity. And then we get into the infrared sauna space. We started eating, I think the entire time we've been together, we've been on like a whole food diet. Like, we're just
Primarily whole foods. We like ice cream.
Yeah, of course.
Where do you guys shop?
Actually, Wegmans.
Yeah.
Me too.
It's not unfortunate, actually. I love Wegmans.
I do.
Prices are a little out of control, but
The prices are egregious. We also buy some foods from a farm in Canandaigua.
I'd love to talk to you about that because I've been looking for like a farm.
Phenomenal. Phenomenal.
Like eggs and stuff.
Eggs,
That's where
meats.
Okay.
They don't have all meats, but the integrity of the meats, you can just see it. And like, we really prioritize eating organic, which it's expensive, but we make
Who
concessions
cares
other
though?
places.
There's no better investment you can make.
Exactly. We make concessions other places to be able to do that. It's not like it's super easy to go to Wegmans and spend $600 for our family.
I understand. Yeah.
More than like a couple times a month, but we just make concessions other places.
I just have the mindset of like, I'm going to pay the extra $3 for an organic versus
100%.
non-organic.
100%.
Tell the difference by the naked eye, which is kind of scary.
It is scary. Yeah.
Well, and we've always been on that train. We are super aligned with health and wellness, so that makes it easier. I think like sometimes in relationships you have one spouse that might, you know, go off the deep end or potentially
Or like waivers more easily.
have different outlooks on those things, and we have never, like, you know, we don't drink a bunch of alcohol.
Mhm.
We'll have an occasional glass of red wine. We don't do drugs. We don't,
Yeah.
So like all of those things allow you the efficiency to continue to move forward in the business sense. I think you're sharper, you're quicker
Yeah.
to act. You don't feel like shit, you know, hangovers. We don't waste any time.
Mhm.
And you can get a lot more done in a very short amount of time when you don't have those other distractions and you're just in sync, right, with your body.
You feel the difference. You literally do.
Well,
Yeah.
and too, I think one craze that we're loving is the like social drinks that don't necessarily have alcohol. Like some have CBD, some have THC,
I
the
haven't tried any of those.
adaptogens. They're awesome. It's just so nice because then you can still, and not that we don't have a drink, like we will occasionally, but I
Yeah.
mean, my baseline answer would probably be I don't really drink that much, but like I can and I
Yeah.
will if I like feel like
Sure.
I want to. But we don't have time, especially with even just like our kids. If we were 9 to 5 corporate world, your kids like, well, I just don't have time to be hungover. Like if I miss my bedtime window, I feel hungover. Like I can't be
Yeah.
adding a drink into the mix. But yeah,
Yeah.
the like social beverages that are available now that don't have the like ramifications of alcohol are amazing.
Which
especially-
ones do you guys drink?
Well, Heirloom, THC
Okay.
with CBD.
So
also.
I've never tried any CBD. I've never smoked weed in my life, actually. So
Really?
What do you feel? Is it just relaxing feel? Like is
You
it,
definitely feel like a little high.
Yeah, different types. I mean, some of them make you more focused.
Mm.
Some of them are like, you know, you'll have a drink and you're like, wow, I have this task to get done, I can get it done.
Yeah.
But then there's other ones that are just strictly for
mellow you out.
like relaxation.
Yeah.
Like, hey, if you want to have a night with the family and you're kind of just trying to sit out back and do a barbecue, you can just.
And they're healthy. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
the-
I mean,
for the
obviously
most
there are ramifications of THC,
Yeah.
but the CBD and then some of the other drinks that have just like adaptogens or different things that promote different points of wellness throughout your body, whether it's mind, gut,
Yeah.
awesome, and no ramifications. And it's actually, I wish I would have brought you one. There's a company
part two you can bring.
Yeah, there's a company that started in Canandaigua, and it's a chiropractor. I think she's also like some sorts of functional medicine, and partner at Three Brothers. They partner to make they call them wellness elixirs.
That's awesome.
And their ingredients are amazing. And it'll say on the can like pesticide-free tart cherries were used in this. It's like so specific and so amazing. All like very digestible, easy ingredients. Like you don't get that. So that's also awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. I
Yeah.
love that. If you guys could go back in time and tell your 20-year-old self a piece of advice or wisdom, what would you tell 20-year-old Rachel and Jordan?
Meet Jordan sooner. We say it all the time. I know. We say it all the time. We're always like, can you imagine if we like knew each other in college? Like we would have dropped out. We would have a few more businesses. But I'm not kidding. I think you're welcome. I've said it before.
My heart.
I mean, we do. We say it all the time. I'm like, can you imagine?
How much we would have, yeah, I mean, we're 30, I'm 30, she's 32.
Yep.
Jordan's like, you were crazy in college. I couldn't have met you then. And I'm like, yeah, okay. They're every serendipitous timing.
Yeah, I think I definitely like balance Rachel out, and she does the same for me. Like she's the go-getter, like don't say no mentality. I never had that, right? Like I was on a straight path to like corporate banker, which is a very boring thing to be in life. And, like,
You're welcome.
when I realized that like I can't do this, I don't want to conform to this. It's just like it's boring.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a different way. There's a different way.
If you're a wealth planner and you have a cool book of business and all this money in your bank account, you would not have done anything. So like, I wish also that I had met her sooner and that my mentality had changed quicker.
Yeah.
But I also, did my best to figure out, like I got a full athletic scholarship to play lacrosse, so like that helped a lot. I mean, that puts you very far ahead, and not that many people are fortunate enough.
Mm-hmm.
That's also a big reason why we could do Lumos is that we were both full ride athletes.
Or anything like that. So like that made it nimble enough for me to say a very quick yes to her idea when she messaged me that, right? So
Timing. Yep.
Timing of when we met was fantastic. I had just moved back from out west. I was working at Goldman Sachs Investment Bank out in Utah. I moved back after a year of living out there, and within a month I met Rachel. And then within like 2 months after that, she moved in. So it was a very much like, I already know you're my person. I don't really need to ask any other questions. We didn't like take the time to like go and figure out all of what she had done previously. I don't really think I cared.
Yeah.
So that was kind of nice. That summer, I got thrown in to a 70-person.
My family reunions are crazy.
City, and I'm like, I don't have a big family. Like, that's something I long for.
I do. My dad's one of 8, so I feel you.
I went there, I was like, this is exactly what I need in my life. I need like some fun and activity and never-ending family who cares about everyone and is still very close.
Mm.
That was a huge deal for me.
Yeah.
Is there any other advice that you would say? 20-year-old self.
You have to try.
Oh, yeah.
Try everything, and I think a lot of people don't. They just get used to doing the same mundane things every day, whether that's.
Yes, step a little out of your comfort zone.
Yes.
Even now, it's hard for me to change up what I like, but if you try different things, different workout, different restaurant, different, all these different things, you're gonna find people that you bump into
That you align with.
that you learn about.
Yeah.
Wow, those are really interesting people. I want more of that. I want
Mhm.
to hang out with them again. Like, and just expand your community.
That's it. Yeah.
And do things that make you uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would be I mean, granted, I was doing a lot of things and I was definitely uncomfortable, but even just mimicking that with other people, like try things that make you feel uncomfortable. Like discomfort is life. Like it is just
I want to go deeper on this.
Fundamental part of life.
It's physical people too, right? Like obviously ChatGPT and all these things make it very easy to be a loner and
Yes.
find this information out yourself.
Yep.
I think back to, how would we fix that school problem? It has to be a tangible thing where it's a physical act of, going into a corporation and teaching people from the top down, like, hey, this is what it takes to build it, instead of this is the only job you're doing within this huge house.
Mhm.
Once people see that, I think it enables them to want to act, whether that's to be better or to better it, or to learn more about the other positions, because most people are siloed within these companies. And
Totally.
very specific niche that you're hired for, and you don't even get to see outside those walls.
Totally.
You're in a
Yeah.
It's sad. It's
so-
really
It is sad.
One of the things that, holding onto my job for so long definitely was a curse, but also a blessing that, like, I'm sitting in an office in someone else's business, talking on the phone about furthering my business. And I'm like, oh man, this is a problem. Like, maybe I shouldn't be here. Maybe this should be at my home office.
Yeah.
Once I hit that wall. But I think that's one thing that we're lacking, is people getting the firsthand physical ability to go and sit with somebody and see what they do. If you want to shadow Rachel, I mean, man, that would be a hell of a day to go shadow Rachel.
You're gonna get flooded with people now that want to shadow you.
Bring your runners.
Also, at the same time, I feel like a lot of people wouldn't put themselves out there to go do that. I feel how uncomfortable it actually.
Well, and that's what I wanted to hit on right there is you can say, yeah, go outside your comfort zone, do the uncomfortable things. It's fucking hard to do that, and that's why people don't do it. But what I've learned is it's almost like exposure therapy, right? You have to
Start small.
You're not gonna go speak in front of 1,000 people. You start with a small group. You work your way up to a bigger group. If public speaking is what you're trying to work on, say.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, you're speaking in front of all these people. So it's a gradual increase. It's like bit by bit, chip away at whatever's making you uncomfortable, and that's how you make progress versus
100%.
just being so anxious and throwing yourself into a situation
that's not going to ever feel successful
Exactly.
or be successful or
Yep.
get what you want out of it.
Because
You
then you'll
have-
be so anxious and you'll never do it again.
Yeah, you have to start small. It's like exposure. It's like sunning and cold plunging. We're bringing it all back. Like you don't need to dive in and like do something that's insane or crazy or totally out of your realm. It's like something really small. Like start a really small conversation, or start a conversation with someone that you want to have a bigger conversation with, but don't talk about that yet.
Yep.
Like wait a second.
Yep.
Yeah, exposure therapy.
Oh,
And
yeah.
and bring a friend.
Yeah.
To grow, it has to be. To be just me. It does not. It's so, and then maybe you find somebody that you're going to grow with.
And that's the blessing of what you guys have. And what I have too with my partners, my brother and his best friend, like the trio we have is fundamental, I believe, to the success we've had, because
You're aligned.
we're all aligned, we're brothers, and we get to bounce ideas off of each other and really check ourselves. When one of us is wrong, the other two will be like, you should check yourself.
Yeah.
So I think partnerships are difficult, but they're so rewarding and fulfilling at the same time.
100%. And it's okay. Exactly. And it's okay to not like to have a crazy idea and to talk through it. And then you find an iteration of that idea that does make sense.
Exactly.
Or like if you did mess up, you learn from it.
Yeah. What do you guys do for fun outside of business? Just cold plunge and saunas? Is that all you do?
We actually really love to travel. I have a sister who lives in Europe. So we finally got to take our kids. I really love to travel. Jordan was really interested in traveling, and I can say he loves it now. We went to Europe with our family for 2 weeks last summer, and that was incredible.
Where'd you go?
We went to Austria. We actually stayed in Austria the whole time, but we moved around within Austria.
Nice. That's very fun.
It was incredible.
So
incredible.
My wife and I want to get to Italy at some point. She went in high school, but I didn't get that luxury. So
you've got to go.
Holding me back is that flight. I do not do well on long flights.
Well, actually, if you want to know what it's like to travel with 3 kids and somebody with food poisoning overseas.
Are you kidding me?
He literally in barf bags. It was unbelievable. So dramatic.
And we still made it.
With a 5, 3, and 1-year-old.
Just like entrepreneurship, you're like, wow, this is gonna be fine. Like everybody just sleep on the overnight flight, and then you're like, oh.
All hell just breaks. Yeah.
But thank God it was just him.
The worst scenario actually not the worst, but like one of the worst scenarios that could have happened, and it was still.
And
we made it, baby.
You made it through
it. There you go. Like, hey, it's not all glamorous. Like, you're not getting a one-way business class ticket. You're sitting in coach with.
It is genuinely so worth it.
I think, the purpose behind Lumos and the lifestyle is the freedom of time, but also the freedom to go places.
Yeah.
Especially while our kids are young enough to.
That's what it is for me, too.
Perfect schooling scenarios where they have to be present.
Yeah.
That's my goal. I mean, that's definitely my goal, is to see the entire world.
And also, we love to be outside. We snowboard. We do snow sports. We snowboard. We just love to be outside with our kids. And like, I would love to say like hiking, but can't really hike as a family. So just any like ability to be outside.
We're outside rain or shine too. We don't.
Yeah. We suit them up in the rain suits.
New York, how everybody like wants to complain about the weather, but they choose to live here.
No, we love New York for life.
We actually really like it here. We don't care if it rains or it shines or it's snowing. Like, we'll find something to do, and our kids are savages. Like, we'll find. I mean, we basically say like, if you have a rock pit or like you're outside with sand, our kids will be fine. Like
they will make fun.
That's like kind of like entrepreneurship. Like, you just have to be uncomfortable. The kids don't know any different. They have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something I had to learn. Like, I was kind of in the mentality of like, stay inside your perfect little cookie cutter house. Like, curate an environment that they don't want to leave from. And then Rachel's like, nah.
Follow me.
Yeah.
I was like, come on, baby. Got you.
Anywhere.
Yeah.
We take them anywhere. They come to Lumos all the time. They know what hard work looks like. They know how much work we do. We told them we're going to be on a podcast. They're super.
They had a lot of questions. They want to be on the podcast.
We honestly should have brought them on the podcast. It would have been fun.
They would be hanging from. Absolutely not. They would be going ham in here.
Knocking shit over.
Yeah. You'd be like, what's this?
I do think that having the kids makes it easier to be an entrepreneur. I'm not saying, and I'm not condoning having kids while you try to build a business, but I don't know what, I think we would be more go, and probably
less life.
And I think that some people want to hear that probably because it's doable to do both, as you can see, but also it's fun to do both. And when you made the comment on your way up that you guys were probably thinking about it and whatnot, I was going to tell you to go ahead and do it because it actually makes this part of it more fun when you get to pick them up after. You tell them what you did that day, the freedoms that you had, and then also like they get to see it firsthand. Like, they come all the time to our stuff. Like, if we can't figure out, we have no family here, like my family's in Syracuse.
We don't have babysitters.
So like, they're coming.
Yeah.
And like, even if it's an event at night or whatever during adult time, they just got it.
All right, Shannon, you heard Jordan, so.
Well, and I also think people are always like, how do you do that? And I'm like, it makes you so honest with your time. And as an entrepreneur, it's really easy to slip into this. It is 24/7, 365. You don't take the time to grow yourself. You don't take the time to do things away from it or that are not just like an ulterior motive for your business. It makes you honest with your time. You have to take that time. Like, we really unplug for a few hours when our kids come home, and you have to, or like, what are you doing with your children? You know what I mean? So I think it's been one of the most rewarding.
portion of it either.
Yeah.
I think that that's the biggest thing that
Makes you so honest with your time.
I got away from that mentality of like, this is just for money, right? Like, like it's easy to do that when you don't have those other responsibilities other than yourself.
And I think a lot of people start at that. They want the money, they want the whatever. But at least for me, you start to realize, what do I actually want? I want freedom.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
Me too.
You want to talk to cool people.
Yeah, that's way more important than a lot of zeros in your bank account.
Totally. Where are you guys headed? Goals for the future? What is the plan for Lumos? Whatever you want to announce at this portion of the show.
I mean, obviously the expansion of adding 2 additional locations. So 7 and 8, that's in the works right now.
Can you give a rundown real quick? Because we didn't even say like where all the locations are.
Yeah, I'd love to. So our original location is in Victor, New York. Our second is in Rochester, New York in the Culver Road Armory. Our third location is in Williamsville on Transit Road, Buffalo area. Our third, that was third. Our fourth, I know. Our fourth opening was in Greece, so just outside of Rochester. Our fifth was Orchard Park, and then our sixth was Webster. So 7th, it's going to kind of be like a race for these 2, but 7th should likely be in Syracuse. And then 8th will be in Amherst on Niagara Falls Boulevard, right by University of Buffalo, where I went to school.
Right.
Yeah.
So 3 in Buffalo now.
3 in Buffalo, 4 in Rochester, 1st in Syracuse.
And do you guys have a number you're trying to get up to? What is the
So I wouldn't say it's a number because we want to continue to grow. We definitely want to continue to grow, but we want to grow organically and genuinely under what our capacity is of like Jordan and myself and our leadership team without like significantly overextending ourselves. Like we can be uncomfortable. Obviously, it's what we've talked about a lot today, but we want to always make sure that we can service the locations that we do have and service them well and continue to offer the same experience at every single location. We want it to feel the same. We want it to look the same, which is another thing that we're working on, adding cold plunge to each of our existing locations. Because right now only 2 have it. The 2 new openings will have it. Every future Lumos will have it. But we have to retroactively add it to each of the locations, which it's a project. It's a lot. So we kind of have to get our feet under us. We have plans for each one in the works of adding, but we're not actively working on each location right now to get it added.
Gotcha.
If that makes sense.
Does, yep.
We have one more exciting thing that we're launching. We actually just like teased it, but it's called the Lumos Social Club. We have this amazing community that, you know, we're a part of and we have created, but it's a relatively personal thing to come to Lumos. You have your own private room, you have your own private time, and we wanted to be able to share the community aspect and feel. I also think it creates like a lesser barrier of entry for people to be able to do these things together, and people want that. There's an appetite for that. So it's going to be community cold plunges, infrared sauna use, but the community cold plunges fit 6 to 10 people. We're going to have a live DJ. We're going to have a coffee cart. We're going to have smoothies. Yes.
Where's it going to be?
Right in front of our Culver Road location. That just like first one's going to be there. That just is what lends itself to that, to all of these things happening, because there's perfect space. Our landlord's down for this.
Great.
So that's going to happen there June 21st from 10 to 2.
All right.
Yeah.
You heard it first here, people. Let's go.
Let's go.
Well, congratulations, guys. That's really
thank
what
you.
a great idea. And I think this is where I need to check it out now. This is like my entrance into your world. And
it's so much easier to do with someone else. That's my first recommendation to anybody that like feels like they can't. You can bring a friend, bring someone that's going to cheer for you, or even just take your mind off of it.
With a DJ, that is the icing on the cake right there. Seriously.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a vibe for sure.
It's gonna be a vibe.
Well, guys, thank you so much for today. I've enjoyed this conversation so much, and there will be a part 2. I've got to have you guys on again. And I just want to commend you, because what you just said just now about taking care of your current customer base is what you guys hold so true, and not enough business owners care about that. I think a lot of us just want to grow, just keep getting bigger. I want to tell you real quick that I think my mom talked to you, Rachel.
Yeah.
Something happened. She went for like a session or something, and she signed up for like a membership, not knowing that she did.
Okay.
And she called, and she's
So
like,
sorry.
no, how you handled it is what I'm getting at. She called, and she's like, her card had been getting charged for like 6 months or something. And she's like, shit, I haven't even been here. And you immediately, you're like, taken care of, done. Don't worry about it. So
Yeah, I always will.
Shout out to you, seriously. And now she's probably a customer for life because of that.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry that happened.
It's all right. That happens. It's business.
Yeah.
But just wanted to share that. And again, you guys are my people, and I'm looking forward to continuing building our relationship. And we'll have to get dinner or something soon.
Yeah.
One more question I want to ask is, do you have a favorite book? Favorite business, life, personal growth? Do you guys read?
Yeah.
Okay.
I do.
What do you got for the audience?
I'm getting Jordan into reading. I'm like silently sliding him. But I mean, you really loved Atomic Habits.
Oh, that was one of my favorites.
This
book that, I mean, so going back to smoking weed and stuff, that was a crush for me. Those things.
Yeah.
I was using marijuana, honestly, to get through that moral time of like, I still have this job. I know I should leave. I don't have enough time left
Sure.
for Lumos growth and like things I want to do, plus this job. And that book was like, I read probably half the book and I was like, I'm done.
It's life changing.
Yeah, this is.
Yeah.
That plus Cold Punch plus sauna. I mean, it's been 6 months now, but that was.
I love that.
Have you read Mind Gym?
No.
This was a really pivotal book for me in college. I can't say though that I have a book that has really impacted how I am or like the choices that I make necessarily. But Mind Gym in college was like my Bible. I think I read it like 6 times. Just about like competitiveness and like your like mindset. And I had a tough college career. I had an injury that essentially should have been career ending, but I had my ankle, I dislocated my ankle and I had it repaired by a podiatrist and wasn't really specialized in sports medicine because classic college athlete situation. They don't take care of their athletes or their bodies. So I just had like a hard time because after my injury, I just wasn't the same athlete that I was. And the reason why I was playing at the Division I level was really more I was a Division I athlete versus necessarily a basketball player. But I wanted to go to a program where my basketball skills could be developed into a higher level so that I can make an impact on the program. I wanted to go somewhere smaller so I could make an impact. And then losing that edge with my injury, I just like couldn't move the same way because it just wasn't ever right.
Yeah.
That book really helped to get me through just like putting your mind in a different like place to be able to still be successful and like accept
Got it.
the adversity.
Because your identity is so wrapped up in that. And
It
all of a
was my
sudden
identity.
It's taken away from you.
Yeah. And then it was like, I was like a lesser version of my identity because I couldn't play the same way. I wasn't getting as much time as I wanted to get on the floor.
Yeah.
I like considered transferring and then ended up not, but talked to my coach about it, which like didn't sit well with her. So that like made my situation worse. So it was a lot of adversity in college. And that book helped to keep a level head.
Cool.
Yeah. I haven't read it in a few years. I need to read it again, but yeah.
You don't have time to read these days.
Audiobooks I love, but I like to read before I go to sleep.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't have like, I mean, I didn't read, I'm supposed to get Atomic Habits from him when he's done and he still has like a couple chapters.
Yeah.
I'm really interested in reading that one.
It's just so matter of fact. Have you read it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's why I like it.
Yep.
It's like a lot of books are for your subjectivity to like kind of figure out
Your realm.
what the meaning is to you.
Mm-hmm.
That one just seems like, what are you doing? Like,
I was nodding my head the entire time reading it.
It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
obvious.
Yep.
That, like these little small tiny wins every
Add up 1% every
It
day.
can be done by anybody. Like
Yep.
the simplest things like make your damn bed and like wire and
Yeah, like we do that.
Make our bed every day.
Yeah.
But like when you think about the power behind that,
Why you're doing it. Yeah.
Yeah,
it gets me going.
Let's go.
Like right now, it just makes me want to do like.
Go make your bed.
yeah.
But yeah,
She's me.
That book changed my perspective
Yeah.
on who I was prior and the transitionary period that I needed to get me over the hump of like.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was a gift at a good time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of my favorites for sure.
Okay.
Habits are everything. I tell people like motivation and willpower only lasts so long. It's your habits that take you through
Yes.
the hard times. And yep.
Like that is who you. That's your identity. That's
Yeah.
who you're trying to be.
Well, and it circles back to what we said in the beginning, like, or what I said in the beginning, how you have to tell yourself you're going to be successful.
Yep.
Write it down. Tell your friends. Tell everyone. And most importantly, but you need to believe it.
Tell yourself.
Whether you really do or you don't. You
Yep.
need to pretend like you believe it.
Right on. Guys, thank you so much again for being here. This
Thanks
was
for having
amazing.
us.
Yep. I hope you guys got value out of this episode. If you did, please share it with a friend, maybe a fellow entrepreneur who's just starting their journey, maybe a husband and wife couple who are trying to start a business together. This episode will be very valuable for them. So other than that, we will catch you guys in the next episode. Peace.